Watch how Lee Anderson delivers one of his fiercest attacks yet as he confronts Keir Starmer over illegal immigration and a shocking criminal case during Prime Minister's questions. With emotions running high and the Commons erupting, this explosive exchange puts border security and public safety firmly in the spotlight. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to Britain Daily for more explosive political coverage. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In Ashfield, 4 workers, including 2 nurses, were kicked out of their HMO, and Serco put 4 illegal migrants in this HMO. One of these illegal migrants was a Pakistani national. He went on to rape a young girl, a vulnerable young girl, on a park in Ashfield. He's now doing 14 years in prison. This was a monster allowed into this country by this awful government. But if a Prime Minister is really serious about protecting young women and girls, does he agree with me and Reform UK that every single illegal migrant coming to this country should be detained, not allowed to claim asylum and then deported?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very proud of the fact that after net migration reached almost 1 million under the party opposite, we brought it down by 82%. On the asylum system, which he references, now asylum decisions are made at record levels, the backlog is down, removals are up 41%, and we're closing asylum hotels. They lost control of our borders. Now small boat crossings are coming down, and we deported 70,000 people with no right to be here. He likes to ask questions. He should be asking some questions of the leader of his party sitting next to him. He received £5 million in crypto from a crypto billionaire and then privately lobbied the Bank of England on digital currencies. So did their leader carry out lobbying paid? Why did he keep his £5 million gift secret? And are they happy with their leader earning £20,000 an hour flogging gold bullion? They need to ask the questions across their benches, but they never do.
Lewis Atkinson.
Mr. Speaker, too many people are waiting too long for NHS mental health care, with over 6,000 adults waiting up to 2 years. In Sunderland, grassroots organisations like the wonderful Betsy Jenny Cafe are providing support to our community, but they cannot substitute for timely NHS-funded care. So as the government consults on its new mental health strategy, will the Prime Minister agree with me that it must include clear waiting time standards?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank him, and we're determined to transform mental health so everyone gets the support they need. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to say that we've recruited 8,700 extra mental health workers. We've opened the first of 6 24/7 neighbourhood mental health centres, and we're ensured that nearly 800,000 more children and young people have access to a mental health support team in their school or college. There is more to be done, but this is a real step forward.
Cole Lockhart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week in Northern Ireland, a former member of this House was convicted for the most horrific child sexual abuse against 2 girls. I want to commend the victims for their extraordinary bravery in coming forward. It was their courage secured a conviction, and I have no doubt that their resolve will help others find their voice. No matter an abuser's power or status, there can be no hiding place for someone who would take the safety or would steal the innocence of young children. Mr. Speaker, thousands of vulnerable young women in Rotherham, Oldham and across the UK were subjected to organised child sexual abuse and exploitation. In many cases, it was Pakistani heritage grooming gangs responsible, while institutions looked the other way. Before leaving office, the Prime Minister has the ability and opportunity to leave a legacy. Will he ensure that the promised statutory rape gang inquiry is delivered so the truth can finally be told, and that those responsible are held to account, and that no child's safety is ever sacrificed ever again for racial sensitivities?
Minister.
Can I thank you for raising the case in Belfast that concluded last week, and, like her, salute the courage of the victims to come forward. It must have taken extraordinary courage. It does in every single one of these cases, but particularly when you've got powerful people and institutions, it takes even more courage to do so. And so we salute them for their own acts, but also because it will, I hope, have helped others to see that if you do come forward, you will be believed. And justice can be done, notwithstanding the difficulties. On grooming, we have set up the inquiry, and it's very important it goes wherever the evidence should take it, and that's an absolute guiding principle of the inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am gravely concerned. I am gravely concerned that time after time, this Prime Minister, in response to the abject and honest criticism of his defence investment plan, he cites recent trends in defence spending when he should be calibrating it against the chronic and very real threat that the people on these islands face. In his limited time left in number 10, will he get a grip of his paper-thin plan?
Prime Minister.
This is the party that thinks we should give up the nuclear deterrent. And he stands there to talk about defence. So we need no more advice and sanctimonious nonsense from the NSP. Before he or any of them given any more advice to me or this House, let's have some home truths. Their chief executive has just been jailed for 5 years for embezzlement. They're all pretending they didn't know anything about it. They couldn't even see the motorhome parked in the driveway, apparently. And now they're blocking inquiry into the Scottish Parliament. Before they offer any more advice, they should look in the mirror.
Sir Ed Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I not associate myself with the Prime Minister's comments about my party? But can I associate myself with all his remarks about the earthquake and humanitarian catastrophe in Venezuela? And can I commend the Scottish team and the Scottish fans on the joy they brought to the World Cup? They did the whole of Scotland proud. And can I wish England well against DR Congo later today? But with Rhys James and Gerald Quansah in doubt, I know the Prime Minister isn't the only one struggling for a solid defence plan. Mr. Speaker, the wars in Ukraine and Iran show us how seriously we must take the threat of missiles and drones hitting our country. Our national security requires the best possible missile defence system, including Royal Navy destroyers. But the funding in his plan for this falls dangerously short. Yet the Prime Minister has rejected our proposals for defence bonds, which were used in the past to rearm our country. So can the Prime Minister tell us why has he chosen to leave our country so vulnerable to missile attack?
Prime Minister.
Can I first join him on his comments about the Scotland team and Scotland fans and wish England well? I'm not sure about his gag. He was getting a bit better the other week, but he's gone back down. I'm afraid that one is a red card. But, Mr. Speaker, our defence investment plan gives our country what we need to fight now and into the future, the capability that's been assessed through the strategic review. Bonds, which we looked at very closely, are simply borrowing by another name, and we are already borrowing in a way which requires us to spend £1 in every 10 on servicing the interest on that. And I would gently point out, before he carries on with any criticism of our plan, that he sat in a cabinet that cut defence spending by 22%.
Sir Ed Davey.
The Prime Minister knows that our defence bonds are within his own fiscal rules, that he's had advice from his own team that he should adopt them, and I hope the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield will listen. But, Mr. Speaker, I have another concern I think the Prime Minister will share. The rising tide of racist violence and hate that we're seeing in our country, and the way it's being incited and normalised, including, I'm afraid, by some members of this House. I was talking to a British friend of Indian ancestry who told me how reform activists came to her door and said that if they get into power, she and her family will have their passports seized and their citizenship revoked. Does the Prime Minister agree that racism has no place in our country? And will he join me in condemning anyone who is stoking it?
Can I thank him for raising this? It is really important because our politics is becoming more diverse and racism and intolerance is permeating everywhere. And we have to deal with it because it's tearing our societies apart. It is keeping good people away from politics because they don't want to be involved in it. And it should be called out by every single person who's a politician at any level in this country. Mr. Speaker, I say this looking at the plaque to Joe Cox, and of course we've got David Amos behind me too. We had a Joe Cox 10-year reminder that it was 10 years ago, just a week or so ago, that we lost Jo, and I had a reception in Downing Street with her parents and other close friends and relatives of hers. We read out the words of Jo again, The very sad thing is, I was not able to say that in the 10 years since Joe's death, things have got better, because sadly, they've got worse. That's on us to fix, all of us to fix, every single member of this House, whatever their party in. And anybody who flames it should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
What an incredibly tense and emotional Prime Minister's questions that was. Lee Anderson used his question to raise concerns about illegal immigration and public safety, referring to a serious criminal case in his constituency and calling for tougher action against those entering the UK illegally. He argued that stronger border controls and stricter detention policies are needed to better protect communities. In response, Prime Minister Keir Starmer defended his government's immigration record, pointing to lower net migration, increased removals of people with no right to remain, and progress in reducing the asylum backlog. Rather than accepting Anderson's criticism, he also turned his attention toward Reform UK, raising questions about the party's funding and leadership. The debate quickly became about more than statistics. It reflected the wider national conversation over immigration, border security, crime, and how governments should respond to public concerns while maintaining confidence in the asylum system and the rule of law. For many families, these issues are deeply personal. People want safe communities, secure borders, and a justice system that protects victims while ensuring dangerous offenders are held accountable. Parliament's responsibility is to debate these difficult questions openly, and today's exchange showed just how divided political leaders remain on the best path forward. As immigration continues to dominate political debate, exchanges like this are likely to become even more significant in the months ahead. What do you think? Should Britain adopt tougher immigration measures, or is the government's current approach the right one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this coverage, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Britain Daily, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest PMQs clashes, Commons debates, and breaking political news from Westminster.